This is a summary of the documentary entitled This is Congo, with some additional comments by me. So they're talking about a group called M23. And I guess M23 is supposed to be a group of rebels that are in the Congo. So Colonel Mamadou is approximately a 30-year-old skinny kid representing Congo's military. Okay, so then the documentary shows Colonel Mamadou's soldiers in camouflage who appear pretty well equipped with uniforms and guns. And so they're shown dancing around a 50 caliber machine gun and a bazooka. They have rocket launchers and they're chanting, quote, M23 will be defeated. We will send them back to Rwanda. One of Colonel Mamadou's soldiers says, we are preparing to fight Rwanda. No, another soldier corrects him. M23 are rebels. They are not Rwanda. And then the other one responds with, no, they are together. And then the response is, Rwanda and Uganda is giving M23 assistance. So these two soldiers are arguing who these M23 rebels are. And I guess some of the more stupid soldiers there are just saying that they are Rwanda. So Congo is fighting Rwanda. So Colonel Mamadou is reported to be the youngest of all the officers, and he's promoted to defend the city of Goma, G-O-M-A, with 4 times as many soldiers under his command. So Colonel Mamadou is a new commander defending Goma alongside of the UN. And the UN, of course, look better equipped. They have all the big trucks with the huge machine guns and all the artillery, and they look like they're the ones holding all the weight, of course. And this is a quote from a female reporter with an English accent. Quote, the UN mission can do little to stop the M23 rebels as they swept into the city of Goma. The UN's response, quote, a new batch of troops with a wider offensive mandate. And this is an unknown source. So then there's another quote from this English reporter from an unknown source. I don't know who she represents, but the quote is, the M23 are now 15 kilometers north of Goma, where they have set up a position of command. And then they show Colonel Mamadou's forces fire rockets toward a very clean, middle-class neighborhood. And what's interesting is at the beginning of this documentary, they show many mining towns. And these mines are basically quarries where people are taking pickaxes and shovels and they're just digging into the side of, digging into the ground. So over time, it forms a quarry. So it looks like a gravel pit. And so it's not a mine, it's just people digging into the earth and finding these very little rocks, these pebbles. They look like marbles or pebbles. And they bring it to their boss, who's a big fat lady, and she gives them enough money so that they stay in a little shitty neighborhood, a mining town. And these mining towns do not have running water, these mining towns do not have electricity, and these mining towns look exactly like the towns that you'll see when they're trying to get you to send 50 cents a day or $1 a day for charity. Have you ever seen those commercials where they have the kids all sitting around starving to death? The African people are sitting around starving to death, and they're in some weird village, and they're all impoverished. And the statement is, you could feed this little boy here for $1 a day. These are actually shots from a mining town in Africa that have been set up by these huge multinational corporations that make a lot of money off of Africa's diamonds and Africa's minerals. So they're going to give these people a shovel and a pickaxe, say go dig a hole and then live in this impoverished village over here. Meanwhile, there are many towns and many villages in Africa where the people are living very well. There are farming communities, I believe, where there's agriculture and there's livestock. And these people are living very well and they're building their own houses and they have running water and they're working together. And it looks very neat and orderly. They have a village. They're self-sustained. It looks like neighborhoods in New Hampshire up here, only they're in Africa. But these are the neighborhoods that are under attack by the UN and Congo's military over there. So they go into this area, they say this M23 rebels are there, and then they fire rockets into that area. Now they have this whole ongoing assault on this area, I don't see one person shooting back at the military. I don't see one rebel soldier shooting back at them. There is no return fire. And the whole thing is this group of Mamadou's soldiers here running forward, shooting their automatic weapons, firing off some rockets and stuff, and there's no return fire. Then in one scene they have two soldiers that they say, this is M23. These are two M23 commanders, and there's two dead soldiers on the ground. And guess what they're dressed like? They're dressed in the exact same uniforms as Colonel Mamadou's soldiers. So it looks like they killed two of their own guys, threw them on the ground and said, this is M23 rebels from Uganda or Rwanda that have invaded the Congo, and they have set up a position in this nice farming community, and that's why these people have to go and attack this nice farming community. So does that sound familiar to anything else that I'm reporting on this channel about our military attacking our people here in the U.S.? No matter where you go, it's the same shit. It's the military set up to attack middle-class people who are self-sustained, trying to live an honest, productive life. No matter where you go, it's the same crap from these military lunatics that work for these corporations that are all controlled by the Roman Catholic Church. So they're shooting toward this very clean, middle-class neighborhood. They have decent roads. It looks like they have running water and electricity because they're smart, hard-working people in that area. But they're under attack because of this lie that there's rebels in that area. So now this group, this UN-sponsored Congo Military, could go shoot up that area and take over. All right, I don't know who's doing this quote. I think it might be a spokesperson from the Congo Military. And the quote is, "Last night went well. We took control of their position in Musina." And that's spelled K-A. It is a Nancy. Y-A-N-U-C-I-N-A, I believe. And pushed them back to the Kibati. K-I-B-A-T-I. They tried to counterattack yesterday at 9 p.m., but we pushed them back, and after 2 hours of fighting, leaving behind 5 dead bodies, totaling 19 dead, and 14 from bombings. So I believe that's a quote from a member of the Congo Military. Then they show a pickup truck with 2 soldiers dead, dressed in identical new uniforms, the same that the Congo Military wear. It appears like his own troops are identified as enemy M23 soldiers, but they are identified as a person from Rwanda and Uganda by their IDs. Yeah, this guy's from Rwanda, this guy's from Uganda, and surprise, surprise, they want the Congo people upset at those two nations. So then he goes on to say, Rwanda and Uganda support all these rebellions. It is no secret. And it says, in the documentary states, for the past 20 years, Uganda has fought to control this region, turning Congolese against Rwanda, and especially against the Tutsi tribe. So then they kind of go into a brief history of the Tutsi tribe. The Tutsi, T-U-T-S-I. And they said that Germanic colonizers entered the area and set up a tribal hierarchy by establishing the Tutsi tribe, saying that these 10% of the people were more evolved than the 90% of the remaining population. The 90% of the remaining population was called the Hutu tribe. So under Belgian control, under German control in Rwanda, the Tutsi crushed the Hutu, creating much hatred and conflict that would eventually erupt. The Hutu tribe left Rwanda and went into parts of the Congo. So after being attacked and forced out of Rwanda by the Tutsi, these people were like refugees, almost. Only they just packed up and left. So imagine that the Germans invaded here, and they said 10% of these people are the chosen few, and the rest of you are the enemy. So that's kind of like what they're doing with the U.S. military. The U.S. military are the Tutsi. Well, the remaining 90%, we're called the Hutu tribe, and we're under attack by the U.S. military. So some of us get the bright idea to leave because we're all getting rounded up and killed. And so we go into a rural area where we work hard and set up villages. And so now, what do these people do? They follow us into the Congo and say that we're rebels over here, and we should be killed again. So Hutus settled in the Congo area where they are attacked by the Congo military, who accuse them of being supported by Rwanda. Now remember, Rwanda is the country they ran away from. Rwanda is the country that elected the Tutsi tribe to attack everybody else. And if you leave that country, then you are supported by that government who just attacked you, and you should be rounded up and killed over wherever you go. So in the Congo, the military seems to fire rockets at its own people, and then says it's the Tutsi-controlled M23. So they just confuse everybody. But if you trace this back, this village was the people that Tutsi chased out of Rwanda. And there's a very disturbing scene at the end, which is the Congo National Army. Colonel Mamadou's forces have gotten themselves a house out of the village by Airport Road. And they basically put this house on a trailer, and they're driving it back to wherever their hometown is. So what that suggests to me is they had it out for some guy over there in the village by Airport Road, who was probably a leader of some sort, and he's the one who taught a lot of other people how to put in water canals, how to run electrical wires, how to farm, how to raise livestock. He was some leader over there, and they hated this guy so much that they had to say, yeah, he's part of some imaginary rebel group called M23, and we're going to go attack this village, kill a bunch of people, and then we're going to take some guy's house, put it on a trailer, and ship it back to the Congo somewhere. That whole thing suggests a bunch of psychotic military nuts that are controlled by the UN. The bottom line is there is no M23 rebels. So it's just one big lie after the next by the UN, by the Western power establishment. That's England, that's Germany, that's Italy, and that's America. Just take a look at this Colonel Mamadou. He's a very immature looking idiot here. And it says President Kabila, who looks like another piece of shit, is praised for coordinating the generals for the tactical plan of securing the area referred to as Airport Road, or the village by Airport Road. That middle class area is attacked and people are killed, or they're sent to a tent community, a slave-like mining town where they dig into the side of hills with shovels. And then you, in America, could send $1 or 75 cents a day to these poor Africans who don't know how to support themselves. And the truth is that the UN is over there with a bunch of freaking Congo military idiots attacking any self-sufficient African village. And then you get the idea in your head that these people cannot support themselves and they'll need your charity. Well, pretty soon in America, the people in Africa will see you and your families sitting beside the drainage canals with crap floating by in some stream somewhere and saying, redneck extraordinaire can't feed his family. But for just 50 cents a day, you could help feed Billy Ray's family over here. Mr. Chris Williams over here can't afford to support his family over here in America, because we're just a bunch of dummies over here in America that sit beside a freaking goddamn septic canal with flies covering our head, because we're just a bunch of uneducated, poor, white people in America, and for just 75 cents a day, the Africans could send it over here and feed your little retarded white kids.